It's 1980 in Suffolk, England, and in between two of NATO's most important / strategically placed bases, a UFO lands. Military personnel sees activity over the span of multiple nights, but not only do they see it, the base commander does too, and on night 2, he goes in there with a recording device and records everything in real time. This tape still exists. However, the United States government as well as the British government says it never happened. They deny everything. So it's December 26, 1980 at RAF Woodbridge. That stands for Royal Air Force Woodbridge. It's in the English countryside. It's cold. It's isolated. It's nothing to do. It's not even a city or a town. It's just a blip on the map. Anyways, the guys are doing 3 a.m. patrols. Boring as hell. They see a light descend into the forest, and it's not like a streak or like a flash. It's like a slow, controlled descendance. They tell their superiors what they saw, and a team is dispatched into the forest to further investigate. Team puts on their big boy pants, puts on the game face, and they make that trek into the forest at 3 a.m. Pitch black, dead of night. As soon as they get to the edge of the forest, their radios go full static. I'm talking about 90s box TV static, where it's so loud that it echoes throughout the house. They keep going, but they find that the static is slowly disappearing and being replaced by quiet, until they reach a point where they only hear their footsteps. The men continue their walk into the forest until they run across a triangular shaped object about the size of a Nissan Sentra. This thing is making no noise. There is no engine idle. It's completely silent, but it's hovering about a foot above the ground, and it's moving kind of casual, going from branch to branch. It's not fleeing, it's moving with a purpose, but it's moving at its own pace. The men follow it till this craft reaches the edge of the forest, where there's a wide open field, and it shoots up like a rocket, and the men are covered in light. The men get back to the base. They make a report. Their superiors say drop it. Some of the guys returned later that day when the sun was out and did a little bit more investigation, and they found 3 impression marks from where the craft was originally spotted. They also saw downed branches and they saw burn marks. So they called the police. The police came out and they were not having it. The police said that it was animal impressions in the ground. It's nothing to do with UFOs. They had to accept that. 2 days passed and word had spread like wildfire.
It's not safe to stay here. Check the perimeter now.
The base commander himself was going out there to investigate, Lieutenant Charles Holt, and he was bringing a large team as well. He brought the big dogs with him because, hey, we do not know what's out there. It's Earth first. Let's not take any chances. He also brought a tape recorder so that he had proof of everything. Now, with that being said, Holt also brought a Geiger counter with him because he did not want to leave any room for doubt. He wanted empirical data. So when they got back to that initial landing site, they did find that the radiation levels were abnormally high. While they were investigating, they also had a red beacon of light make a beeline toward their location, and before it got really close to them, it shot upwards and split into 5 separate white objects.
What is it? We don't know, sir. So can I get some? Yeah, it's a strange, small red light. Looks to be maybe a quarter to half mile, maybe further out. I'm gonna switch off. The light is gone now. It was approximately 120 degrees from the site. Is it back again? Yes, sir. Oh, that's the flashlight set.
They also found that there were white beams of light being shot toward the ground, and one of those beams of light was close to their team. Now his team, experienced airmen. They are competent with weapons, but at that point, it's nothing you can do. There's a beam of light being shot near you because you don't know where it's coming from. It's light, right? And you can hear the sense of urgency in his voice when you listen to the tape recording.
Broken pine branches on the ground underneath. Looks like someone came off about 15 to 20 feet up. Some small branches about an inch or less in diameter. Within 148, we're hearing very strange sounds out of the farmers' barnyard animals. It's very, very active, making an awful lot of noise. It wasn't a pigmentation. You just saw a light there. Wait a minute, slow down.
There is a 5th dimension, beyond that which is known to man.
We watched them for quite a while, and we saw 2 objects to the south. They were white, bright lights. We couldn't discern a shape. There was a shape, but I couldn't tell what it was. One came overhead at high speed, very high speed, 2,000 or 3,000 feet up, and sent down a laser-like beam at our feet. Just click, it was on. I stood there in awe, very concerned. Is it a weapon? Is it a warning? Is it communication? And as suddenly as it appeared, it disappeared. The object then moved back to the south. The sister object to the south came over Bentwater's base and sent down similar beams in or near the weapons storage area. I can't say they went in. A lot of people didn't say much and kept their mouths shut for years till they retired. I've had a lot of statements now. I have confirmation from the air traffic control people, and I am going to read it a little later tonight. They saw the object go across their scope, 60-mile scope, in 2 or 3 seconds, thousands of miles an hour. It came back across their scope again, stopped near the water tower, which wasn't far from them. They observed it. They watched it go over and go into the forest where we were. Rendlesham radar, Eastern radar we called it, definitely picked something up, and it was, how should I say, it disappeared, so to speak, the recording and all. But one of the operators has confirmed that they did pick up a bogey, they called it, and it went into the forest, or they lost it near Rendlesham Forest. Our controller in the weapons storage area, we have a big tower there, saw the object, and so did a common that was working there. 3 or 4 of the people on the ground in the weapons storage area went up and got a 12-power binoculars, and the objects in the sky, they say, were triangular. I could not see the shape because they were bright. They were just too bright to pick out a shape. Whatever was there was obviously under intelligent control. My personal feeling is there was some type of a mothership or bigger entity or something that was controlling what was on the ground and perhaps some of what we saw in the sky. I don't know. One of the people in the weapons storage area say he saw a much larger craft. None of them told me this at the time. I didn't find this out until years later, when they all retired. The air traffic controllers were asked, well, why didn't you confirm? Because I was kept calling the command post, asking, you know, look here, what do you see? And they kept saying they see nothing. And the air traffic controllers told me that they knew anytime an air traffic controller reported a UFO, they got decertified. And they became a cook or a baker or a copper or some other such thing. So they said, hey, zip, we don't talk about it. I have signed sworn statements from them that they did what they saw.
So Holt does what any responsible leader would do. He compiled all of his evidence and he gave it to the Ministry of Defense. They looked at it. They were like, oh, this is no threat to national security. You're good. Don't worry about it. You're good. Holt's like, what do you mean I'm good? This base holds nuclear weapons and we're good off that. Like that's okay to happen. Y'all good with that? We're good. Okay. Quick timeline rundown. 1980, Holt files the report. 1983, it is leaked. So the public knows now. And there's a little bit of hype built around it because it is pretty crazy as far as the details. The Freedom of Information Act comes out and a British researcher requests that information. He gets the file and it is determined that the government was tracking this incident the whole time. And they took Holt's file and they put it into their file, their information file. So they left this man out to dry for 20-something years.
Do you regret being part of the incident? Because
If I had to do it over
reason.
again, I wouldn't have gone out. I would have sent a subordinate out. If you really want to know the truth. And I'm a little irritated because I wrote the memo because my boss and his boss didn't want their name on anything. But there was never any intent for that document to become public.
We have to understand he is a commander. His name is on the line. He could have possibly been not considered for certain positions because he's out there chasing spacecraft. He's out there making reports about aliens. He's out there looking for E.T. The Brits weren't the only ones interested in the Rendlesham Forest incident. U.S. Senator James Exxon used his special clearance to dig into the files, and all he told us was he found something. And he said that he could link that UFO incident with other UFO incidents. So in short, he really told us nothing. Now at a local level, there is a forester named Vince Thurcuttle. He lives right next to Rendlesham Forest and he works there as a forester. He had 2 men in black suits come knock at his door. And they questioned him about December 26th and December 28th. They were polite but very persistent, and they were asking him if he saw anything, does he know anything about the incident. He said he saw nothing, he knows nothing. Right, but he did also say that he bought the newspaper for the next couple of weeks, hoping that something would be in there about that specific incident and about their conversation. Nothing was there, closed case. While governments were busy burying the story, one of the men who was actually there on night 1 was sitting with something that he hadn't told anyone. Sergeant Jim Peniston, the first man into that forest. He said that when he touched the craft, something happened to him that he couldn't explain and he couldn't shake, and he kept it to himself for years. When he got home, he could not sleep. Something was weighing on him very heavily. It was almost like a tsunami of thought. Something you can't drink away or meditate away. It's there. So what he did was he grabbed his notebook and he handwrote 16 pages. 16 pages worth of ones and zeros. Year's 1980. 30 years later, a binary code expert was able to translate those digits into actual English language. To be clear, Peniston was no engineer. He was no computer software developer. His job was not technical. He was security. He was a police officer on base. That's what he did. They decoded the messages and they contained geographical locations. One of the locations was Giza. They had 2 latitude points running through the center of Giza. The other location was a mythical island called High Brazil, which no longer exists. This island disappeared centuries ago, yet it was decoded. There was also a message that was decoded as well. Human exploration continuous. We have not gotten an explanation, and I don't know if anybody can explain how in 1980 a staff sergeant was able to transcribe the locations of some of the most mysterious places on Earth.